All right, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Call. I'm getting ready to leave on a grizzly bear hunt. It's a 10 to 14 day backcountry hunt. And I went through a lot of updates to my gear list compared to what I've taken in the past. For those that are listening, you might want to go watch this video, especially at the beginning. I'm going to try to keep this really short because I've done a lot of gear dumps over the years, showing you all what I bring with me, the typical stuff I like to use. So I'm going to try to make this quick. I'm just going to throw the list up on the screen, take a look at it, go through it. I'm just going to go over some highlights, high-level stuff, try to keep this podcast short. If you like the show and you want to support Gritty, go over to briancall.com, get a t-shirt or something, Gritty shirt, Gritty hat, or go shop at Black Flag. Right now, they have a 40% off if you use the code Gritty. They have 40% off anniversary sale discount going on if you use the code Gritty. Head over to Black Flag. They have some great energy drinks. The Revenge, I like the Pink Plunder. They have a couple other flavors, but between now and June 30th, the anniversary sale gets you 40% off. You got to try it if you haven't tried it before. Use the code Gritty and you'll get that 40% and it helps me. All right, let's go over this gear list. Before I get into the explanation of what I'm taking with me, I'll tell you the weight of the pack, my whole plan. Before I do that though, I just want to say, every time I do one of these, there's always somebody a little bit angry about how expensive a lot of this gear is. And they're not wrong. There's a lot of stuff in this kit that's expensive. I'm 50 years old. I've been doing this for a while. I spent a lifetime saving, working, doing my thing, and I can afford things I could not afford in the past. There are a lot of things on this list that someone might look at and say, ain't no way I'm buying that or spending that much money for that thing. And I totally get that. I'm not suggesting you do. All I'm saying for you today is this is what I'm bringing. Take from it what you can. If there's a value proposition on this list that makes sense to you, spend the money. If it doesn't make sense to you, don't do it. I'm just going to tell you what I'm kind of bringing at a high level and why. I'm not going to explain it all. And then it's for you to utilize how you wish. When it does come to gear, there's a lot of items on this list that are also super budget. There are things on here like I'll go over a little bit Black Ovis puffy gear. I'm going to use that this time instead of my KUIU, my more expensive KUIU, or maybe my Sitka gear, because and I'll kind of get into some of the logic with that. But so there's a little mixture of everything on this list, but I'm going to go through it and kind of let you know what it looks like. Okay, here we go. On this list, I split my backpacking list into a number of sections. Section 1 I have as hunting gear. It kind of just helps me in my head go, okay, this is the stuff that hunters bring that a normal backpacker doesn't really have to worry about. So that includes the weapons, the tripods, the optics, things like that most people don't bring. I also have my camping and shelter section, and that's, pretty standard fare. I like to split that out because depending on the season, I might change that up, or depending on the type of hunt, I may not take a wood stove. Sometimes I might. And then clothing, I have that split out, electronics and emergency, and then the weight and strategy of I'm going to explain that in this 5th section. But I also have in the list like possibles. That's, emergency items. What do you call it? Toiletries, toothpaste, but also repair and first aid and that kind of thing. But let's get into this a little bit. Starting at the beginning, remember this is a high level. If you want to see the whole list, just watch the YouTube video. I'm going to throw it on the screen and you can check it out. Okay. This is the full 2025 gear list for backcountry grizzly bear hunt. First, I've gotten my Weatherby 307 Alpine MDT chambered in 7PRC. It's paired with a Leupold Mark V. It's a 5-25 by 56 scope. The total weight is more than I'd like. So I have a Weatherby 338, which I took on this hunt previously. It's about 6.5 pounds. This particular setup is a little bit heavier in the 7PRC because the Mark V is a bit heavier. And I have a carbon barrel on this one. It's a little longer, the 338 short. Anyway, it works out to be about 2.5 pounds heavier, 2 to 2.5 pounds heavier than the other rifle. But man, does it shoot. I mean, it shoots like a dream. Just point it, figure out my range, dial, and shoot, and it just hits. So it also has a folding stock, which I really like. It's a very expensive rifle when you compare it to other options, but also very inexpensive if you compare it to a custom rifle. Anyway, that is the rifle. I'm running a Tricer BP bipod and the full Tricer optics. I got the AD tripod that Anthony's going to carry and the DZ head. The reason I like the DZ pan head, it's got a ball pan. So the ball head moves around, and then I also have the panning motion. You got to check out that tripod and that head. It is such a killer combination. And both of these tripods are basically with the head tripod. The whole deal is 2 pounds roughly. So pretty tough to beat when it comes to weight and performance. I've got the little Leupold spotter, and sometimes I leave that behind. It's this spotter here. Sometimes I bring it. It depends on the hunt. This particular hunt, it's on the chopping block. I might not bring it. And the reason for that is because my camera lens does about the same thing that not as good, but this is a thick brushy hunt in Alaska. And you kind of either see the bear, it shines like a diamond, or it doesn't. And we're not picking out like a deer's antler in June, bedded in a thicket. This is like, these grizzly bears are out. You see them. I don't necessarily need a powerful spotter. I got good binos. We'll see. Let's see what else is on this list. I've got 177 grain hammer bullets. I am bringing my sidearm. I've got a new holster that I really like. I prefer, in the past I've used a Rasco that mounts to my binocular harness, and it goes and the pistol goes right underneath it, and it kind of is on your belly. It's kind of annoying. Because it's just, especially when the pistol's it's a Kimber 10mm camp guard. It's a little bit large, a little bit heavier than most, but I've been carrying that for years, and it just shoots for me really well. I'll probably, someday get a lighter one, but I want something that I'm really confident in, and I shoot that Kimber really well. It's a 1911 platform. So I got an Evader Concepts harness and a chest rig, and then my bino harness just sits on top. It feels so much better than what I was using before, which was mounted to the bino harness itself, and it sort of just pulled on that harness. I really like the setup now. It's very comfortable. The pistol stays right next to my chest. If I did take my bino harness off, I still have my pistol there. That 1911 is pretty thin profile. It's not it's a flat gun. Anyway, that's the setup. I really like it. Check out the Evader Concepts. I think that's what it's called. Holster. Pretty sure it is. You look at the list, the itemized list. It'll be on there. I've got in section 2. Let's go over this. I'm bringing a Jetboil Minimo. I just always bring that. It's got the micro adjust dial to really. It uses so little fuel. It's the most efficient that I've seen, so I can afford to bring less fuel canisters on a hunt. Sometimes I've done a 10-day hunt, and I've used the smallest fuel canister they make and gotten through an entire hunt with that. So it's just efficient. It also is great for when we get a bear down and we get some, and we're hunting black bears on this trip too. You get the fat, you can render it in the pot, and I can cook up some deep fried bear meat while I'm on the mountain, or anything else I want to cook. It hydrates really well. The other thing is I do have my own freeze dried meals, and this time, and I'll talk about that on the next podcast. But I've made these meals, and these meals, I have a lot of, because I'm doing carnivore diet for over a year and a half now. A lot of my meals are steak, like thin sliced meat. I want to hydrate it really well. If I pour hot water into it, it does pretty good. But if I put it in the jet boil and I just let it simmer, it'll really rehydrate those more reluctant food items that kind of are a little tough to hydrate. And so I can get that meat hydrated just how I want. If you do a dehydrator, not a freeze dryer, but a dehydrator, that mini mo is money. I mean, it's the only way to go. So the jet boil mini mo, still bringing that. As many times as I've tried everything else, I'm still bringing that. Let's see. I've got 2 3-liter Hydro Pack bladders. These are the Seek bladders. I've talked about those before. Still bringing the SteriPen Ultralight. Got the Microlight bottle. That could be on the chopping block. It saves me 3 ounces if I were to get rid of it. And instead of bringing the Microlight bottle, which is like a stainless steel bottle, I could bring like a type of bottle like this, like an Nalgene style bottle. It's lighter, there's no doubt about it, but it's not insulated. And those cold and hot drinks for 3 ounces of extra weight, I mean, it is nice on a hot day in the summer in June to just drink a cold drink, and in the morning have a hot drink, and it just keeps it hot, keeps it cold. But again, it's on the chopping block. May not bring it. It depends on the load, what it ends up being. And I'll get into that a little bit later. What else? On the camping shelter side, I have the Peaks Torrid wood stove. Now, it's really tough call to bring a stove in June. I wouldn't do it if it was Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, something like that. I wouldn't bring it. But because we are hunting in Alaska, it can just rain for days. Also, we have to cross a lot of rivers at times, and the snow melt in the springtime can really get those tributary creeks running hard and fast, and you got to cross those. And I have Chota Hippie waders, which are just over a pound. They're just slightly more weight than like a croc. So I bring those waders for crossing lots of creeks. That way I don't have to ditch my socks. I don't have to go through the cold glacial runoff barefoot or whatever, or in a croc or something. So I like those Chota Hippie waders. I've talked about those before. When you cross rivers like that, and when there's that much water in Alaska, even when we bushwhack on land and go around like an area you might be blocked off by a waterway that has completely flooded an area, and then you have to walk around, and sometimes it can be knee deep. Sometimes it can be unavoidable that, especially in Alaska, that you plunge your boot into a deep hole and the boot fills up with water. So that is where the wood stove really is handy. Let's say you get a downpour for 2 or 3 days, everything gets soaking wet. You're reliant on some sunshine to come out, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't come out for days, and instead you're just like holed up in your tent, dripping wet, and there's no way to dry it out, really. It can be for a miserable hunt. So the wood stove just changes the game. And because of the weather in Alaska being unreliable like that, bringing the stove and combined with the ability to dry out your gear, get a little bit warmed up, but also if your boot gets filled with water, I bring Graxaw boot dryers, which are a little fan that you can plug in. Check them out. Graxaw boot dryers. Use the code GRITTY, and you can dry out any boot. So I'm kind of like, oh, cool, whatever. If I get my boots wet, who cares? They'll be dry within a couple hours of running the wood stove and drying everything out. So leaving the stove behind just isn't worth it to me on an Alaskan hunt in June. And the stove is about 2 pounds. So basically I'm splitting that weight with my buddy Anthony, who's coming with me on this trip. So it's a pound each. Man, for 16 ounces, why would I leave it? Just can't justify leaving it behind. So got the Torrid wood stove, the Peaks Torrid wood stove, and the shelter I'm bringing. Now this is, there's a few things on the chopping block always when you're, it's a weight to value kind of proposition every time you load up your pack and start to carry it. So, the report is that the mosquitoes are flying in hordes, like black clouds, mosquitoes and, white socks and other bugs and gnats, just like all up in your grill, getting in your eyes. And you can put yourself slathered in bug repellent. We're going to be sitting on some bluffs and we're just like waiting for a grizz to come by, not hiking as much and spreading our scent around as much as we would maybe on another hunt. And for that reason, when we're up there, we're just going to be sitting there. Now, if you get a breezy day, it's fine. But if you don't, those mosquitoes are coming in hordes. And I do have a Thermacell backpacker. This is the Thermacell device that mounts on top of the fuel canister for the jet boil, your backcountry fuel canister, butane. So I can run that, and it gives you like a little repellent to keep the mosquitoes away, about a 10 or 15 foot barrier, and it kind of helps. It does help. It's pretty helpful. But still, you got to wear a bug net. I mean, they're pretty persistent, especially when they're in hordes and frenzies like that. But what I decided this year was I'm going to go ahead and pay a 2 pound penalty, and I'm going to bring the Peaks nest. And that is the inner part of a Peaks teepee. So you pitch the teepee with the nest inside, and that keeps the bugs off. It's basically a fully enclosed mesh shelter. Now, I don't plan to necessarily use that for where we're sleeping. I probably will pitch the teepee with no floor. I'll throw my Tyvek ground cloth down. I'll pitch it up. The teepee will be pitched up. And then what I'll do is sort of put some brush around the bottom so no bugs can kind of fly in under the floor, this shelter. I'll stake it tight to the ground because I'm trying to keep the bugs out. I'm not too worried about condensation. I do have a wood stove. If I get a little drip inside, a little bit of heat for 10 to 30 minutes and everything will be bone dry. It'll burn off that condensation. So I'm not worried about that. And I might do fire every morning and evening or whatever. But the point is, I'll set up the Peaks teepee, and this is the Dyneema teepee because it's half the weight roughly of the sil nylon. I'll set that up, and I'll keep the mesh liner in my backpack with an extra pole. When we go sit on the bluff to glass the grizzly bears and the region below, I'm going to pitch that mesh basically shelter against the bugs. I'm going to pitch that thing up. I'm going to climb inside, and you can glass right through that mesh. It's a 360 view, basically. It's just like a mesh shelter. Climb in there, mosquitoes are off of you, and you can spend days just looking around without the bugs like all over you. It's just a nice perch to sit in, and if it's hot, it doesn't matter. The wind blows right through it. It's we might even sleep in it if it's a cowboy camp, basically, on a nice night, and just not have to deal with bugs while keeping it open air, depending on how hot it might get. So it doesn't get dark in Alaska this time of year. It's like basically light year round or 24/7. So it's important to bring something to put over your eyes, like a little sleep eye deal to black out the sun so you can sleep a little bit. It's a crazy odd time of year. But anyway, that's sort of the plan with the shelter there. Normally I would never bring the nest. Never. But on this particular hunt, It makes all the sense in the world. I'm going to bring it again. It's just like a little force field against these mosquitoes. Now we'll see if the weight penalty and the value ends up being worth it. I suspect that it will be. I really do. So let me think here. I've got the X-Therm pad. I was going to go with the Neo Light. It's only a few ounces more. I went ahead and went with my favorite pad. I got the Peaks 15 degree sleeping bag with the armholes and the hood. I love that thing. This hunt is so warm, I probably won't be using it to glass out of. But it's an option if it does get a little cold, which means I don't have to bring quite as much in clothing and gear as I might normally do. Okay. When it comes to clothing, I've got something new this year. I've got black Ovis puffy pants and jacket. I'm leaving my KUIU stuff, which is my favorite, behind. I've got the black Ovis rain gear. I'm going to try that out. The Sitka stuff I had the last hunt I went on, it leaked pretty readily, but that's pretty normal for how much backcountry hunting we do. The Sitka rain gear can really wet out super easy. It's once it gets dirty and it's been a year old, all of it kind of wets out. But I'm going to test the black Ovis stuff. It's a lot more affordable option, so I'll report back on that when the hunt's over. Both the puffy and the rain gear. I have Peaks gaiters. I don't think there's a better gaiter on the market than the Peaks. Check those out. Go to peaksequipment.com. Use the code GRITTY wherever you can. If you go to Black Ovis, use it there. If you use it at Peaks, you use it with Graxaw, with all these companies that I work with. I've tried to work out arrangements with them. I wouldn't recommend this gear if it didn't work. Use the code GRITTY at Initial Ascent. I've talked about the 8K backpack, which is pretty ideal for this 10-day expedition type hunt, 10 to 12 day. Man, there's no better pack that carries heavy. I've talked about that. Check out a previous podcast if you want to learn more. Let's talk about the Catula microspikes. That's on the chopping block. Oh, it's so hard for me to leave those behind, though. I don't think I will. Lampers would mock me if I did. Microspikes are just in the springtime, well, kind of all year, but especially this time of year. If we did get up into some high country or steep or muddy or slick, or these slippery rocks that you walk up on some of these drainages, it is nice to throw on the spikes and stay on your feet. If you're wearing them a lot, you don't really notice that they're with you because they're on your feet. They're not on your back. They're not in your pack. So they're coming, I'm pretty sure. Not going to leave those behind. For electronics and emergency at a high level, I've got the Garmin InReach Mini, but also the new iPhone satellite has been working quite well. So I've got both. I can use my phone now and text my wife via satellite, check in with her, but I'll bring the InReach just for safety as well. I've got maps downloaded to my phone, and I am now using the Cruxley 25-watt solar panel. That thing is incredible. It's 11 ounces. My brother-in-law, Travis, he has the 50-watt solar panel, and it's 23 ounces. They're a lot better than maybe what I used in the past. I think I have, I don't have it up here, but I do have the, what do you call it? The Rhino Tough and the Anker, even the Dark Energy. I've used them all, but this Cruxley 25 watt seems perfect. Now it's about about 4 times as expensive, somewhere in that $200 range versus $70-$80 that usually the 21 watt 3 panels. It's 11 ounces, boys and girls. It is so light. You pop that sucker out and it's so efficient and it works well in low light. It's more wattage output than the other versions. And combined with like a Dark Energy battery pack which I love. Been using those forever. Use the code GRIDDY. You'll save over there. They're durable. I've had some for 5 or 6 years, and they're still cranking along. Now, Nightcore makes one that's about the same power output, but is about half the weight. And if you combine like one battery pack with the Cruxley solar panel, you're somewhere in that. And all the weights are listed, by the way, on this list in pounds, per decimals in pounds. So 0.7 pounds, 0.2 pounds, 1.7 pounds. That's kind of how it's listed on my gear list. And just to tally up total weight at the end. And I want to say it's like 11 ounces and 8 ounces or something. I mean, you're talking about 20 ounces or for your entire electric needs, where you can charge your SteriPen ultralight, which is what I use to filter water. I can charge my phone. I can charge my InReach. I can charge my Peaks headlamp. I can charge, I don't know. Is there something else? I can watch movies. I can use my mapping system on my phone. I mean, I'm pretty much always with power, always with electricity, never running out between that solar panel and one battery pack. So, man, talk about life-changing over the last couple of years, decade, 5 years or so. The electronic solar panel battery energy market has just changed everything. I remember back in the day, I would never carry a solar panel into the backcountry. It was heavy, didn't work. You're better off just bringing 3 or 4 battery packs and then trying to conserve them. Now I don't have to worry about it. I can pretty much run everything as much as I'd like, and I don't have to worry about electricity. Let's see here. The in my pack, I always bring. Yeah, by the way, it's the Cruxley Speed Goat 25 watt. That's the name of the battery pack. And let's see, charging cables, of course. My list is pretty comprehensive. If you just look at the list, you can use it as a checklist for yourself. Of course, I've got the Stealthy Hunter Backcountry Emergency First Aid Kit. It's got tourniquet, quick clot, leukotape. I've got Imodium AD, Benadryl, patch kits, like all kind of the whole thing. Everything I need. It's a little over £1 for all of those possibles, gear. Okay, the total pack weight is 58.9 pounds, 59 pounds. And but there's a whole bunch of duplicate items in this list that I split up with a friend. So in this case, there's about 8 pounds of extra gear, 7 to 8 pounds. We haven't decided what we're going to leave or not. That I would put into Anthony's pack, which brings the weight down after I split the shelter weight and tripods and some duplicate items, maybe cook stove, filtration, whatever we can double up on with sharing it something. That drops the total weight down to 51 to 52 pounds. Let's say it's 52 pounds. So my pack currently, with all the gear you see on this list, that includes rifle, ammunition, all the optics, spotters, tripods, the whole everything, I'm at about 52 pounds total. I might be able to get it down to 50 pounds, getting rid of a couple other items, but it's right around that 50-pound mark. Now, my food, which I'm going to talk about in the next episode, that food comes to a total for 10 days. It's about 1.5 pounds a day, which is about 15 pounds. I've added a lot more cheese and jerky than normally, which bumped that up. I don't need it, but I enjoy it. So I'm at about 17 pounds in food for this 10-day trip. And I'll get into the food. This is the lightest food with probably the best nutritional value and like performance I've ever taken with me on a hunt. It's simple. I'll talk about it in the next episode. It's all animal-based carnivore foods. And I've talked about carnivore before. Doing it 18 months, my body, how I'm performing, joints, everything. It's incredible. And now it's like I used to take about usually 2.5 pounds a day is what my food was. So on a 10-day trip, it would be 23 to 25 pounds, which annoyed the crap out of me. So to basically drop that to 1.5 pounds a day or less, man, I'm shaving 10 pounds in food. And I have better food than before. So I'll get into the food kind of meals and prep on the next episode. So if you look at it, my total with the food for 10 days, all the gear on this list that I'm bringing in, it's a lot. I'm at about 68 to 69 pounds. And that is the true weight. A lot of times when guys are telling you what's in their pack, they're not including their bino or their bino harness or, I don't know, ammunition, like little things here and there, their rangefinder. Like, this is a true, every stitch of my gear is included in that weight. And like I said, I am at about 69, 68 pounds total. I might be able to get that down to 65 pounds, depending on if Anthony and I want to share a little more of this and that. Like not duplicate cook stoves and a couple other items, but that impedes on, enjoyment. You have to wait for one guy to do some cooking and then the other guy, and, so that'll be a judgment call that we're going to make. But on the, I think that kind of like the best thing I can say is, create a gear list like I've done here. You can always like massage that list, update it. I like to use the notes function in the iPhone for my gear list and toggle on I can toggle on the checklist, whether I got something or not. I just push the button and I can go, oh, left that behind, brought it with me. It's just a little on off right here, and I can always just reuse the list. So I'll basically toggle all these bullet points off when I start packing, and then as it makes it into the bag, I just check, and I just go through all of this stuff and make sure it got in my gear as I packed it, and makes it real efficient, easy to do. And then I also have it in a spreadsheet which tallies weights, so everything I have has a weight in it. I can quickly throw this list into ChatGPT with the weights there, and I can say, hey, take this list and tell me how much it weighs. What's the total weight? Just copy and paste it right in there. And I can ask Chat to split it up. How much is just my shelters set section weigh? How much is my camping weigh? How about my rifle, firearm, sidearm? What does that weigh? And I can play with weights there and sort of mix and match and kind of figure out what I want to bring and what I don't. So I hope this gear list is helpful. Use the code GRITTY whenever you can. I have a lot of these companies I work with on this list. They're also among the best when it comes to gear. And hope you enjoyed this podcast. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Don't forget that you can save 40% off at Black Flag right now if you use the code GRITTY. Gear Sell Some Revenge, Pink Plunder, Savage Sunrise, all that stuff over at Black Flag between now and June 30. You're going to get 40% off if you use the code GRITTY. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the show. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Stay gritty.